What's going on, guys? I just picked up this 1994 Civic EX, I believe. Yeah, it's got the 1.6 and it does have a D16 Z6 in it. I pulled the motor out of it yesterday. I was gonna film it, but then I realized there's a billion other Hondas that have the motor pulled and it's really not that exciting, so that's why I didn't. But this car right here, I picked it up Friday. It's Sunday right now. Paid $700 for it. It has 250,000 miles on it. No rust. South Carolina car where I live, so no rust. The thing with it was he said it had low compression somewhere in the motor, or something was hurt, or something was going on with it. So his thing needed a motor, etc. 250,000 miles on it. I ended up driving an hour back. It was hurting a little bit, but it almost seems more of like a burnt valve possibly, or a valve adjustment that's never been done and that valve's sticking open. It's like more like 3.5 cylinders it's running on, or it is just real low compression, and that's causing that too, rings, whatnot. So anyways, pull the motor out and I put on a stand and we're gonna go through it today. I want to pull the head, check out what the head looks like, check the bottom end, check everything out, go from there. I do plan on actually building this motor. I will get H-beam rods, pistons, etc., all the stuff. I'll order all that right away. I want to get this thing going, do a little turbo build. I don't want anything crazy for right now because it's just a D series. I'm not going to sleeve it or nothing like that. I'm looking at like 300 to 400 horsepower top, so probably more of like 350. Nothing crazy, but still something to toy around with, have a little bit of fun with. I'm still working on this. The block's in the machine shop, so I've been waiting on that, so that's taking forever. So it is what it is on that. But like I said, little turbo build, nothing crazy on this, but it'll just be a fun little toy. And if I end up wanting to keep the car and whatnot, then that's when I'll really get serious. And then I'll either get like a B series or an 8 series or something like that with a dual cam, and then I'll make some serious power at that point. But that's what that is. So we're gonna pull ahead. I'll show you the car real quick though. It's hard to see. It's got these. I just noticed that my autofocus was like not on, so hopefully that whole thing wasn't blurry. But it's got these wheels on here, and it did have new BF Goodwrench, the G-Force tires, so those aren't too bad of tires anyway. They're actually a pretty decent tire, so that I felt kind of good with that price. Engine bay, the lighting sucks all of a sudden. But it has a camera kit on it, which I'm going to get rid of. I don't need that like that. I will put coilovers on it at one point, but as of right now I do not need coilovers. I mean, yeah, I don't need them right now. My main priority right now is just to get this motor running and everything else. And I already know right here, but right here, cylinder number 4, as you can see in here, it's very wet compared to the other cylinders. So there's the main problem, soaked in fuel and whatnot. So cylinder 4 was causing all the problem for this old and tired out D16. So let's go ahead and pull the head and see what we got. Okay, I pulled the head. I also got some better lighting. I just turned the ISO up in the camera, so hopefully the quality isn't too bad, but it shouldn't be. Anyway, so I pulled the head on here, and one thing I was curious about with that head was, did they have a head gasket problem or anything like that on the head? And by looking at all the cylinders here, I would say no. And if you're wondering how, just by looking at cylinders, well, what happens is when you have coolant or anything leaking from your head gasket into the combustion chambers here, most of the time, almost always, all the pistons will be really clean, or one of them will be clean because it acts as like a steam clean, and this carbon on a piston a lot of times will be cleaned off, or it's very significant. You can tell the difference. And this is the cylinder that had the problem, and these are the rest. And the cylinders look fine. I mean, just touching them, they're smooth. There's no there's a little lip right there, but I don't even need a ridge reamer. Just clean home. This is a really small bore. I'm not used to how small some of these bores are, but this is also my first Honda I've actually done, so it's exciting for me. But anyway, that's that. So my main thing on here was to measure the clearances in the actual block, and that was just to make sure, okay, that I can use the 75 millimeter. This is what these are, stock pistons, and with a light hone, and it's fine to go. Or if I do actually have to take some machine shop and get it bored, which I'm really hoping I don't have to, because I really don't want to do anything with the machine shop on this build. It's a cheap little build, like I said, for fun. Machine shop, yes, that's the way to do it. Plus I have a block right now for this car at the machine shop, so I hate to be like, hey, I need another block there. So that's what it is. So I'm gonna measure these. Okay, so how I do them is I just use a simple telescoping gauge. It's real simple to use. There's springs in here, so you push these springs in this little knob, you turn it and it locks in place. You set it into the bore like halfway down, and then you just go like this, unlock it, and it comes out. Now with these, this is like a dial bore gauge in a slow way. Then you take a micrometer and you mic both ends, and then I'll give you your measurement. You should do this technically 3 places in the cylinder, one this way and one that way on the top, in the middle of the cylinder, one that way, one this way, and the bottom, one this way, that way. It takes some time to do it all, and that will measure for outer roundness or taper in the cylinder itself. So I'm going to measure just right now. I just want to see what it's at least, and then I can go from there. I took my telescoping gauge, and I got my mics out. I mic'd it, and I also looked up online 75 millimeters to inches, because all my stuff is standard. I don't have metric mics, so I just have to do conversion, which works totally fine. So stock is 75 millimeters is 2.953 inches, so that's what the bore should be. So this is a 2 to 3 inch mic, and this one it does 10,000s as well. So it gets pretty deep in there. I don't need that. So your 10s would be up here on the thimble, but I'm not using that at all. So when I measured this, I'll show you. Remember, this is 2 to 3 inch. So by looking at this, sorry, I can't get it to focus. Alright, so it's 2, 9, line here, so that's 950, and then you go up in here, and that's the closest is 3. So with that, and that's literally a perfect bore. 953, it's literally what it's supposed to be. So could still be off by a thousandth or whatever, but that's so close that standard pistons will be more than fine in this motor, but it's pretty crazy. So now alright, so block's all torn apart now. Everything's done. I actually was cleaning stuff, I just didn't film it. Heads off, obviously, all that. Everything's stripped down. But I did want to make a note. Here's the main of the block, and bearings look pretty good, and then you got this one right here, which is showing copper, and also all of the rod bearings, the top rod bearing had copper showing. And pretty much the reason for that is somebody probably was hitting red line all the time, hitting the limiter, blah blah blah. Especially on the top rod bearings, is when the rod bearing's coming down from the compression stroke, it's so much force, and when it slams down from heat expansion, that top rod bearing gets all the abuse. Obviously the layer of film is what protects it, but it takes all the abuse down. So someone was just banging, and it's showing copper. That's the last part of your bearing. When you get there, that's not good, and then after that you just end up spinning the bearing, and it's not good for the motor. But everything looks fine. on that part. So I just wanted to mention that. I ordered bearings, rods, pistons, head studs, ARP stuff, timing belt. I got like everything pretty much that this motor needs. So I'm pretty much waiting on that to come. It'll be here this end of the week, so I'll film that. The head, I ordered all new valves for it, intake and exhaust, because the head is just so beat up and hurt. So I ordered intake and exhaust valves for that. So I'm going to do a full rebuild with seals and all that stuff. So there'll be multiple parts on this, but just stay tuned for what is to come. But I just wanted to show you guys the block, and everything is stripped down. And like I said, there'll be a bunch more videos coming on this whole build, cleaning stuff and wire tucking and all types of stuff. So stay tuned.